Dungeons and Dragons players of Reddit, what are some of the most memorable quotes and experiences to come from your sessions? One time our party was being teleported but we were over the weight limit. One member had an orphan urchin child as her servant slave, so I just shoved him in my bag of holding. Bags of holding only have 10 minutes of air. We forgot the kid was in there for 2 or 3 sessions. Hahaha, that's great. I accidentally did extra damage to a captive because I forgot I was dragging her around by the neck. I was playing a tiefling who got distracted easily. I was playing a big meaty minotaur back in 2E. The group was my aunt, my uncle and their friends who had made space in their serious adult group for me and my sister. We were stoked to be taken seriously and dedicated to being serious players. Then my monk was baleful polymorphed into a bunny. The adults were nicer than they had responsibility to be because we knew we were trying to not be little kids about things. And I tried not to sulk while my tank hopped futilely around. That's when it happened. I was looking at the book reading the details of the spell and I realized that in that edition you gained physical movement abilities in armor class. But it was a little fuzzy about your actual stats changing. I asked the game master what would have happened if I turned into a dragon. If I would have gotten that massive strength bonus. He was juggling combat and distractedly told me that your abilities don't change, only your movement types and your armor class. So my minotaur had the same physical stats and unarmed attack rolls, right? Sure thing, he said. Cool. My turn came around and I launched my tiny fluffy self at the nearest bad guy. It was a flat out slaughter. I had an 18/88 strength because dice loved me then. And I guess they felt sorry for failing my saved versus polymorph because I could not roll anything but hits the rest of combat. The fight dissolved into a bunch of beaten up party members laughing hysterically while the monsters were destroyed by an increasingly bloody bun. Even the game master was laughing. It was the moment when I realized the adults weren't as serious as I thought and that a little silliness was not only allowed but encouraged. The group kept playing through different games and campaigns until I left for the army, and it fostered my lifelong love of rolling dice. I pictured the Monty Python bunny from the Holy Grail. We convinced the town guard that these are not the druids you are looking for. My pal freaked out over the Vorge Star Wars reference, got excited and spilt an entire red wine decanter over our table and handbooks. At our next session, he bought us all new AD&D handbooks, 2 bottles of wine and tippy style cups. We continued to drink from those cups for months. Why play fourth when you can run cotb? That's a good pal right there. I was playing a monk, and we came across a group of low-level monsters. The specific kind escapes me, but part of their effect was a horrible smell that you had to pass a constitution check. I kept failing over and over, which caused my character to throw up every single round. The rest of the party handled the situation fine, but I was just this poor dude in the corner puking his guts out. Never laughed so hard in my life. Constitution is the most important stat. Brother, sigh. Okay, I slit the cleaning maid's throat. Cousin, what the frick? What alignment were you again? Brother, I'm true neutral. That means I don't care if other people die. Cousin, that's chaotic evil, you psychopath. A. Chaotic neutral is where psychopathy lies. But the point is there and the story is funny. D. I walk through the door. Okay. Do you open it first? Laughter. No. I'm okay. Do a strength check I guess. Rolls. Nat 20. Well, I guess there is now a very orc-shaped hole in that door. Ooh yeah. The gunslinger finds a circle that animates everything that is put in it. The gunslinger tries to stab it and then has to fight his knife. The barbarian throws a chair in it and gets grappled by a chair. The alchemist lights a grenade. And that is how my party burnt down an orphanage they were hired to clear of animate toys. One more because it's less of a quote and more of an experience. So my half-orc barbarian has recently escaped prison by starting a riot. This riot happened at the worst time because apparently some vampires attacked the city, so the guard was spread thin. Once I got back to my team, we learned we needed to find the mayor, who was believed to be in the Capitol building, which was also the prison. The prison I started a riot at. Because I believed the prisoners would let me back in no problem. They were chanting my name because I told the guys I handed the keys to that ramdench freed them, so I told the guard captain that I'd be happy to quell the riot. He agreed, as he couldn't sacrifice manpower to stop the riot, and I was in awe of my word. But when we got there, however, no one actually knew who Ramdench really was. One NPC had the audacity to claim that I wasn't Dench. So, down but not out, I had an ingenious plan that went something like this. Me. A spark in the distance isn't enough to attract attention, but a fire will send everyone running to stop it. DM. That's a lovely metaphor. Me. It's not a metaphor. I need oil. So that session ended with me starting a riot, saying I'll fix the problem, then setting the place on fire to force the guard to act. It was a great day. That's a lovely metaphor. It's not a metaphor. I need oil. I can't breathe. That's beautiful. I mean, really, if you can't trust a psychic fish, who can you trust? Said by my 2nd edition paladin after our whole party was cursed because I didn't know detect evil was a thing. We had this evil assassin character that killed a bard in this inn. Brutal murder. Bloody as heck. He then convinces a casual bystander to go and tell the innkeeper. I took care of the music problem in room 205. Messenger guy gets taken by the city guard and the assassin just walks away scot-free. I don't know, it was hilarious the way it played out. I'm planning on playing a CE bard in my next campaign. I may steal this. You hear a shuffling from behind a statue, and out of the corner of your eye see a figure dart behind it. I threateningly point my sword toward the statue and shout, "Face my fury, you scoundrel." The statue doesn't respond. This is my favorite type of humor, honestly. Well done, Grams. So I wasn't actually in this game, but I think the story is too good to pass up. The guy who regularly DM'd our games had been planning this scenario adventure whatever for a while and was obviously excited about it. He was particularly excited about a certain evil wizard who was going to show up and kick everyone's butt in spectacular fashion. The group played through and eventually it's showtime. The DM gets excited and starts describing the evil wizard's entrance. Not actual quotes but close enough. DM. A shining portal opens at the far end of the chamber and the evil wizard, insert evil wizard name, steps through and stares a challenge at the brave party of adventurers. Fernie, it's your turn. What do you do? Fernie. Is his portal still open? DM. Well, yeah, why? Fernie. I straight kick him in the chest back through his stupid portal. DM. Okay, roll for it I guess. Fernie. Rolls nat 20. Obviously disappointed. DM. You plant a mighty kick in the middle of the wizard's chest, sending him back through his own portal. The last thing you see before the portal winks shut is the surprised and angry look on the wizard's face. Fernie. Did I win? DM. Well, he was supposed to stop you or at least make it hard to reach the end of this dungeon, but his portal spell takes too much mana to do again anytime soon, so yeah, I guess. Fernie. Seems like a pretty crappy wizard to me. DM. Smoldering. If your dungeon is a cave and it's sloped downward, then a barbarian can use their shield to sled down. We may have triggered a lot of traps, but it was worth it. There's two ways to deactivate a trap. Deactivate it. Activate it. Our DM. Long-winded narrative about this giant, sentient tree entity that our group has happened upon. Me. What is your name? Our DM. Hastily searches through notes. I know I wrote down a name somewhere. Our DM. Frick it. I am Tree. I have no other name for that is what I am and my name is what I am and I am what is my name. Tree. Oh crap, recently our party stumbled across a moss-covered friend who scolded the party for making a campfire in the forest. And after a short back and forth we asked its name. After a bit of page flipping and rummaging around, the DM goes, I have been called many things in the past as I do not have a given name. You may call me anything. So we ended up calling him Anything Mossman. First time I GM'd for my friends, they had to protect a traveling salesman named Carolus. He ended up with way more kills due to them rolling pretty bad. We dubbed him Carolus Rex. First, or maybe the second time we played D&D, a low-tier dungeon boss surrendered. The LG Paladin. Okay, we accept his surrender. CE Monk. I try to kill him. He assaulted me. DM. You assaulted him because you felt offended by the way he talked to you. CE Monk. He assaulted me with words. I'll kill him. Tries to attack boss. Paladin gets in his way and tanks the attack. Lasork. I attack the monk. He tried to harm a weaponless guy that surrendered to us. Me. Okay, fine. Sork attacks monk. CG bard. I attack the monk. He attacked my friend. Me. Are you freaking kidding me? The singular demo session of 4E I ever played. We smashed our way through this kobold cave. Captured one of them. CE rogue. Random 12-year-old at the con. I shank him. LG paladin. Me. No, you don't. Rogue. No, I totally shank him. Me. Miming half drawing a sword. Number. You don't. DM. Panicking. There will be no PvP in the demo game. The absolute best one. One of my players was a warlock and he asked another player for supplies, and the other player asked him for something in exchange. The warlock jokingly offered his soul, so I encouraged him to write it on a scrap of paper and give it to the other player. What he didn't realize is that by promising his soul to another player he lost all of his warlock powers his patron gave him in exchange for his soul. The other player eventually traded it back in exchange for the warlock being required to spoon him every night gently to sleep. One time while DMing I gave one of my players the rock of gravity detection, and it became a running joke for the rest of the campaign. Reminds me of the ring of teleportation, which only teleports itself, and not the wearer, and the magnifying glass of Antspeak. At some point our paladin saved the life of a homeless man who then asked to be his squire. The paladin's response was to ask him his name. Shingles. M-Lord was the reply he got. That's disgusting. From henceforth, you shall be known as Craig, or Craigory for long. He then proceeded to abuse Craigory like only a foppish noble can. Craigory, lay in the puddle so the lady doesn't ruin her dancing shoes. Craigory, hold this shield and stand on the pressure plate. Craigory, this displeases me. Strike yourself. My Dragonborn, who has never met another Dragonborn, mistook another player's lizard for character as one of his people. Another Dragonborn. Hail, Scalabrither, UHH. Hi, I am Castle, son of the White Dragon Silmarinth. I've never seen another Dragonborn before. Tell me about yourself. Thrak, son of Thwack. I guess I am a swamp dragon, really? My breath is ice. What element do you breathe? I don't know. Breathes in paladin's face. He crit fails con and vomits. I breathe disease. Castle was by far one of my favorite characters to roleplay. He was a fur trader who very rarely visited town and had no idea how anything worked. His intro to the group was the rogue pointing out that the merchant in town had been massively underpaying for his furs, and the party trying to track him down and get Castle paid properly. So this guy says the merchant spends all of his time at his manor or at the brothel. Cool. Hey Castle, want to go ask around at the brothel? I'm not allowed in the brothel. What? Why? Apparently only certain people are allowed to be naked there. Oh. I also interrupted some form of duel in the side room and everyone was angry with me. His mother and dragon siblings were killed by a red dragon and he was badly burnt. As a result, he was terrified of fire. His position on marching order was always as far from the torch as possible, and he refused to sit anywhere near a campfire. One day he discovered cooked food when the rogue tried to get him drunk, and became obsessed. He found a cookbook of fine recipes and it might have been a wizard spellbook for all his understanding of its terminology, and he studied it like one. We caught one of the merchant's henchmen, and everyone needed a rest. So Castle volunteered first watch, and grilled this guy for 4 hours on the meaning of terms in the book. You will tell me what I want to know. I ain't telling you crap. You will answer or I will freeze you slowly. Now, what is the meaning of adding 2 tibisps of sugar? What? Don't toy with me, scoundrel. What is a tibisp and where do I get one? Are you daft? Very well. Where can I find a swordsman to teach me the art of finely dicing? When the group got up to change shifts, he volunteered everything he knew to get Castle away from him. Reminds me of my Dragonborn who grew up in an isolated Dragonborn village. She was so confused that an elf's skin color didn't determine what type of magic it could do. Me. I want to play a drow. Master, you have 3 elves in your company. Me. I'll wear a mask, a cape and make a good story. Master, okay. 2 sessions later, you find strange books in the Necromancer's crypt. They are written in some dark language only evil creatures can understand. What do you do? Me. I read them. Party Fasipum. It would have been funnier if he had tried to kill one of his party members first then claimed that he could read the books after committing murder. Our party had successfully infiltrated a Illithid's lair. We made our way through death traps, monsters, and finally get to the big bad's door. Before we knock we start prepping and my character and another's warrior in the party start having a philosophical debate as to whether or not we should kill the Illithid. I forget the details but after about 10 minutes of viral debating and everyone arguing the door opens and the Illithid comes out and tries to interrupt us. But we tell him we're not ready for him. Slammed the door in his face and continue arguing until he came out and attacked us so the GM could have some peace. I let my players fight each other in gladiatorial combat. They both agreed to not actually kill each other by declaring non-lethal attacks. It ended with the half-orc getting knocked to 0, surviving with relentless endurance and then executing the other player and claimed his head. DM. The party's rogue wanted to dig up a treasure chest he'd seen some pirates bury. Do you have a shovel? I have a crowbar and a can-do attitude. Love the reply. It's these small remarks that I love most about D&D. Just laughing my butt off over silly things that shouldn't be funny, like digging a hole with a crowbar. The first time I played D&D we were trying to have my character meet my friend's character in the beginning before starting on an adventure. My character, a female rogue, was hiding in his character's closet at the inn because she was trying to steal his stuff but he walked in at that moment. Over and over again he rolled for search checks, and they kept being unsuccessful. So he's searching and searching this tiny closet and not finding a whole but human being every time. It was pretty hilarious. I really miss that friend. I was playing an Eladrin druid in a campaign run by my sister, and we had just met with a beholder who was hiding beneath the city in an old abandoned sewer system, and it was taunting each and every one of us. Then it exclaimed that we could each ask it a question. The fighter asked about his missing parents, and the barbarian asked about the lady who had cursed him. Then the beholder turned to me, taunting and sneering, asking if I was going to ask something about my backstory since it was all-knowing. Instead I looked it in the eye and asked a simple question. Do you bleed? And that's how we fought, killed and some of us died to a beholder. However, the reactions of my fellow players and DM made it all worth it. One of the easiest ones I can think of is a friend's character always saying I eat it after the DM would describe something. Usually just the extra little detail things when describing a scene or something we had just found. I think the one that really stood out was after fighting some infected looking animals. The DM described pucing growths on the animal's skin. He immediately shouted I eat it and the DM even gave him the are you sure and he went for it without hesitation. That one joke started us on a path to hunting down a necromancer who had been infecting locals and nearby wildlife with a magical disease. All because our cleric decided to eat animal pus. BHAHA, that's hilariously disgusting, and an amazing character quirk. Congratulate them for me, for sticking to their character. XDD. Ranger who had an alligator as his animal companion. If I frick gook, Gator's name, when the party rests. Does that make me well rested? Ranger was also my supervisor at work and his wife was playing in the party too. The SCP Foundation called. They want Crazy Dr. Bright and SCP-682 back. In a post-apocalyptic land with a deadly plague, one of the players was naturally immune to the plague. When a group of holy warriors dedicated to seeking this chosen one found the group, the bard chimed in and convinced them that he was the chosen one. He is not. Next week they find out not only has he doomed civilization but the holy warriors will try to ritually sacrifice him. I can't remember the exact situation, but my first session ended with the female in the party failing a charisma save and falling in love with a literal wall, like the building structure freaking seducted by it. We had just killed a dragon in a cave with a lake. The dragon's corpse fell in the lake. Our rogue wanted to get its skull for a trophy. The DM advised him it wouldn't get him any gold. We developed a system for how he would communicate that he was ready to be hoisted out with the skull. But it had a high roll and he'd drown after the dragon fight trying to reclaim its worthless skull. RIP Gaffer, and RIP friend who played him. I had just traded a stack of comics for the soundtrack to Batman, Mask of the Phantasm back in 1995. My friends never heard the music before, So the moment they rode over a hill and saw their objective, I turned on the title cut, which is this big, dark choral music. Everyone gets very quiet. Player 1. Maybe we should go back into town? Find another quest. I love the opening theme to that film. Incredible arrangement. I once had a touch spell charged, but I didn't hit anyone. Touch spells stay charged until you touch something. Friend gave me a pat on the back and fricking died. Oh no. Allow me to regale you with the exploit known as tossing up the halfling. My father told me his old D&D stories at bedtime. One of my favorites has to do with his half-orc cleric grabbing the halfling by the scruff and throwing them into the air. Being an acrobatic rouge, the halfling could land several shots with a crossbow while the rest of the party hid behind a wall for cover, much to the annoyance of the halfling. I'm going to have to remember this. We have a gnome with a crossbow in a campaign right now that might be able to do the same. We've already tossed her up to a second floor window during a cat burglary. So early in the session my friend buys a spell that turns stone into gold. We all said he wasted money but continued on. Later we were stuck in a room with this giant monster made of rock, forgot what it's called. Anyway, he had the bright idea to turn it into gold. The DM at first confused said okay, but you had to roll a 20. And he did. After the dungeon, let's just say we bought quite a lot of stuff. I had a gnome wizard with long sleeves, who always went on about how the quality of the magic is based on the length of the sleeve. In the final battle, the bad guy looks at me, says, "Looks like you're all out of tricks, old man." I respond, "That's the thing about long sleeves, there's always room for one more trick." Then I snapped a magic staff over my knee, killing us both in the ensuing magic explosion and saving the realm. I was playing a low IQ character that loved ships. We roll up to a dock and the guard asked what our business was in the port. I look over to one of my traveling companions for a good response. He whispers to me supplies. In my excitement, seeing as I have just commandeered my first real ship, I yell surprise. Oh, a surprise party. Playing drunk with some Greek people, we come across a dead body, and someone just says, "Is they legs attached?" In the moment it was goddamn hilarious. I never let them forget they said that. It's how I greet them when I see them. Similar to D&D, I ran a campaign for Vampire the Masquerade. The party was fighting an enemy in a reception hall, and one of the members got flung into the kitchen. He responded by tearing the stove out of the wall and throwing it at the villain. Did you preheat? It's not your fault you were born that way. Being an abomination to nature, my friend's age druid to the tiefling. Think half elf but demon. Mind you, this is like 4 hours after we had a talk about when I came out of the closet and the weird "what you are doing is a sin but I still love you" I got from some family. I was playing as some kind of barbarian in an adventure where we were stuck in a land that was controlled by a powerful vampire. We had picked up a brother and sister, NPCs, and were protecting them while we took them to the next town over. We needed to protect them because she was the vampire's long lost love reincarnated or something like that. So he was coming for her. We got to the town and the vampire attacked our party as we were putting her in a church for protection. Long story short, we were not prepared to take on this guy yet and we were going to lose. Either by all of us dying and he takes the girl or we just give him the girl. Being the nice guy I could not let her fall into the evil vampire's hands, so I swung my sword and chopped her head off. The look on the DM's face when I said I'm gonna kill her was priceless. Everybody else in the group was like, "Great idea. This will get him off our backs for a while so we can get stronger and face him on more even ground." Totally threw the DM off his game because he had planned out we were going to have to storm the evil vampire's castle to get her back. Heck with that. Let's off find that monastery with all the wine. One of the players at my table was in butthole to our DM. During our first session we took shrinking potions to help a town of mousefolk with their cat problem. He was uninterested the entire time and kept shitting on our DM. After the cats were handled, I destroyed his growth potion, shoved him into a bottle, and burnt off his clothes. The player was P, but that was alright because our DM asked him not to come back. For the rest of the campaign I played a warlock who had a tiny goblin in a jar as a pet. I renamed him Waffles after his favorite food and used magic to make all of his food taste like kimchi, anchovies, and cottage cheese. A few months later I suffered head trauma in real life and my DM told me the story. I couldn't remember it at the time, and I didn't remember her either. The way she told the story made me realize just how special Dungeons and Dragons is. That one experience cemented our lifelong friendship. This is amazing that it was such a bonding moment and helped you reconnect with your pre-injury life in such a meaningful way. Congrats to you both for having such a depth to your friendship. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.